I found out about my wife Sarah's affair when the police called and summoned me for questioning regarding her lover. I don't know what to do now. I'm not sure if I should even be writing about this online, but my head is a mess, and I've come here for advice. Sarah and I have been married for 12 years. We have an amazing 11-year-old son, Ethan. Until yesterday evening, I thought we had a solid marriage. I always treated her well. We don't have money problems, no issues in our intimate life, and I never took her for granted. Honestly, every morning I woke up thanking God that this woman chose me. But now I don't even know what to think. Yesterday, as I was leaving work, I got a call from the local police department in our town near Seattle asking if I could come to the precinct as soon as possible. I panicked and asked if something had happened to Sarah or Ethan, but they told me not to worry. Just come urgently. When I arrived, they took me to a room with a table and a couple of chairs. They asked your name, I gave it. Then they started asking a ton of questions about some guy Sarah works with, Jake. I haven't seen or spoken to Jake since December 2019 when there was a Christmas party at her company. The two cops kept asking, how long have you known about this? And how did you find out? The only answer I could give was, what are you even talking about? After about an hour of this interrogation, I just stopped answering their questions and kept repeating, where are Sarah and Ethan, and are they safe? It went in circles. That's how about 2 hours passed with breaks. The police would periodically leave the room for 15-20 minutes, then come back and start over like in some cheap TV show. The last time they came in, one of the cops handed me a tablet and showed me a video of Sarah having sex with Jake. I barely remember what happened right after that. I only remember screaming, what the hell is this, over and over. I had a full-blown panic attack right in the middle of the police station. The police called a doctor. He examined me and said my blood pressure was something like 170 over 110. He wanted to send me to the emergency room, but I refused and said I needed to find Sarah and Ethan. When I calmed down a bit, the police explained that Jake was sleeping with Sarah and apparently several other women. That morning, passers-by found him on a driveway in a nearby neighborhood. He'd been beaten, raped, and set on fire. He was alive, but in critical condition, and the doctors didn't know if he'd survive. Jake's wife, Lisa, gave the police permission to access his phone and computer, and that's where they found the video with Sarah. They asked where I was that morning. I answered at the gym, then at work, about 10 minutes from the gym. Then they told me I could go, but suggested I might not want to stay at home, as it's possible the attack was related to his affair with Sarah. They also said Sarah wasn't the only one he was having an affair with. Then I rushed home. Ethan was at our neighbor's. I picked him up and we went home. We packed some clothes and his laptop for school. I grabbed my gun and we drove to my parents' place, 45 minutes away, in a rural area near Olympia. I still haven't heard from Sarah. Her phone goes straight to voicemail. I called the officer who gave me his card, and he said she's at the hospital with Jake, the guy she was cheating on me with. Right now, I'm sitting in bed. Ethan is on one side of me, my gun on the other. My dad, Robert, is dozing in an armchair in the living room. He's got a shotgun on his lap. I haven't slept in over 30 hours. I don't know what to do. Any advice would be appreciated right now. By the way, my mind is foggy. Edited. Just talked to Sarah's parents, George and Mary. Turns out she voluntarily checked herself into a psychiatric ward. First update. To those who said my story is fake, I can only say with all my heart, I wish it were. Sometimes the truth is indeed stranger than fiction. To those who said they couldn't find this news apparently due to the nature of the attack, a lot of information was withheld. Even our local media reported it as a beating, and that was literally one sentence in the evening news. To those who hinted or outright claimed that the police wouldn't act this way, you're 100% wrong, because that's exactly what they did. I learned from my lawyer that the police can basically do and say anything, especially if you're not under arrest, except for direct threats. They're allowed to lie to your face, which they did. It turns out Sarah wasn't at the hospital with Jake when I contacted the detective. She'd been admitted to the psychiatric ward at the same hospital much earlier that day, while he was still in surgery. Why they lied about that, I don't know, but it's a fact. Naturally, after this incident, I've become very wary of the police. When I woke up that afternoon, I contacted my Uncle Henry's partner at his law firm, Michael. He's a family friend. He came to my parents' house in Olympia, and we discussed my options together. His firm is now representing my interests in both the divorce proceedings and criminal defense. That same Sunday, he helped me obtain an emergency custody order and a protective order against Sarah for me, Ethan, and my parents, Robert and Linda. The hearing is scheduled in 60 days. The police served her the summons on Monday when she was discharged from the psychiatric hospital. According to her brother Chris, who's a close friend of mine, she took it very badly. She's now living with her parents, George and Mary, in a suburb of Portland, Oregon. I still haven't spoken to her, and she hasn't tried to contact me either. Whether out of shame, indifference, or the protective order, I don't know. But either way, I'm glad. Sarah's not the person I thought she was, and I'm ashamed I didn't realize it sooner. I had to say something to Ethan, and I decided to tell him the truth, but in an age-appropriate way. And literally, his first words were, "Please don't let Mom take me." I asked why he said that. He told me that Sarah treated him very badly when I wasn't around, and told him that if he told me, she'd take him away and he'd never see me again. She emotionally blackmailed and tormented our son, and I was too blind to notice. Honestly, that broke me more than the video. I told Michael about this, and he used Ethan's words as well as Sarah's mental state and hospitalization to secure the emergency custody order. I also contacted Ethan's school to arrange therapy, and he'll start seeing a counselor after the new year. Right now, I feel like the worst father in the world. Sarah's parents, George and Mary, contacted me on Tuesday and asked to come to us. I was still at my parents' in Olympia and said they could come, but Sarah can't come near us. They agreed. They apologized nonstops, and Mary cried the entire time she was there. George was devastated and kept calling Sarah that girl. Both said they felt something was going on with her and that they didn't raise her to be like this. We hugged and said goodbye in tears. I told them that no matter how the divorce ends, they'll always be part of our lives. After Ethan's confession, their visit was the second hardest moment of my life. My lawyers have done an amazing job so far. They found out that Jake has a long criminal record. One of the lawyers said that when they printed out his arrest, the printer ran for 5 minutes straight. From what they've learned, he's currently on parole for serious crimes and was previously involved with gangs. He's still alive, but in critical condition and may not survive. The law firm has a private investigator, Tom, who contacted a colleague of Sarah's, Emily, who drove her to the hospital. Emily said the affair was known to everyone in the office. My lawyers believe that's how the police figured out who I was and who Sarah was. In the video. From last year's Christmas party, there are a few photos, and Sarah and I are in some of them together. I'm still lost. My heart is broken. Is there a way to get out of this emotional apathy? Faster, I perceive reality as if it's not happening to music me. Second update. First of all, Ethan is doing much better. He started seeing a counselor in the first week of January, and the changes are already noticeable. I asked him if he's comfortable with me talking to his counselor, Dr. Rachel, and he agreed, so I've spoken with her a few times. According to Dr. Rachel, my soon to be ex Sarah verbally and emotionally abused Ethan whenever they were alone. He wasn't allowed to make noise or disturb her in any way when she was home. She would leave him alone for long hours, even overnight if I was away. Then she threatened that if he told anyone, she'd take him away and he'd never see me again. Dr. Rachel said this made him feel helpless and dependent during a developmental stage when he should be learning to be independent and confident. So I bought him his own phone and helped him memorize relatives' phone numbers and as many useful addresses as possible. I also started teaching him to navigate the streets, memorize street names, and raid building addresses. We also role played scenarios on how to ask for help, how to clearly explain to a stranger that he's in trouble and feels unsafe. I know it might sound a bit silly, but Ethan can be quite shy and withdraws when he's uncomfortable. Although we've only been doing this for a few weeks, I already see his confidence growing. If anyone has ideas on how else to foster his independence, I'd be very grateful. His safety and well-being are my top priorities right now. As for me, I'm holding up as best I can. I started therapy around the same time as Ethan, although I don't talk to the therapist, Dr. James, as often as he does. Being able to verbalize my thoughts and feelings about everything that's happened to us and our family really helps. Now I feel a burning ball of anger in my stomach every time I think about my soon to be ex, Sarah, and what she put us through. Funnily enough, although I hate feeling angry, it's much easier to deal with than apathy. Dr. James says this is part of the grieving process, and what matters is not what we feel, but how we channel those emotions. My legal situation honestly is the scariest thing I've ever faced. I was awarded temporary full custody and child support. I didn't want that, but Michael insisted, as well as an extension of the protective order for me and Ethan at the motion hearing. Neither Sarah nor her lawyer David showed up to the hearing. The judge, Judge Thompson, asked if we'd allow supervised visitation for Sarah, but Ethan adamantly refused. That's why Michael said to bring him to the hearing. Judge Thompson asked if he was willing to talk to him privately, and Ethan agreed. The judge, stenographer, and a juvenile affairs officer went with him to a chambers, and the meeting lasted about 10 minutes. After their conversation, Judge Thompson approved the temporary measures and ordered therapy and a psychological evaluation for Ethan. Fortunately, Dr. Rachel is somehow court affiliated or accredited, so we won't have to change specialists. Michael said this is good because now Dr. Rachel will be able to provide a report regarding custody. But the thought that Sarah could get any form of custody after everything she's done still scares the hell out of me. As for Jake, I don't know much. According to my lawyers, he's alive but still in the hospital. The police haven't contacted me since the initial questioning, so there's no news from their side. As for my soon-to-be ex, Sarah, I haven't seen her since the day I was called in for questioning until last Thursday. She tried calling me a few times, but I didn't answer. And when she called from another number, I hung up immediately. I have nothing to say to her. I don't want to hear anything from her. Her lawyer, David, filed a request for a preliminary hearing for court-ordered mediation. She was served the summons in the second week of January. She came with David. And I know this might sound petty, but even with makeup, she looked awful. She was always an attractive, athletic woman. I swear in our wedding photo, she looks like a supermodel, but now she's so thin it's frightening. She looked sick and exhausted, didn't even glance at me. She sat with her head down the entire meeting. In short, everything David said was just absurd. They wanted to allow Sarah supervised visits with Ethan during the divorce process and joint custody afterward. They wanted us to lift the protective orders. Sarah wants to live with me in the same house until the divorce is finalized. I'm not kidding. After all this, she wants to live with me under the same roof. It was so insulting that my head was buzzing the entire meeting, but it was all worth enduring for the moment when we made a big reveal for David. David asked how he'd handle the division of assets. Michael made a surprised face and asked what division of assets read the prenup. The look on David's face was priceless. Sarah didn't tell him about the prenup. My late Uncle Henry, who founded the law firm representing me, personally drafted this prenup and even hired her a lawyer, Susan, to review it before the wedding. According to Michael, this prenup is a masterpiece. The house we live in was gifted to me by Henry before the marriage. All utility bills and insurance are in my name. All cars are registered solely to their owners. We never took out loans or debts in each other's names. We have one joint savings account that we use for household needs and as an emergency fund. There was about $8,000 in it, and Sarah has already withdrawn it all. There's less than $300 left now. The prenup states that all jointly acquired assets and debts are split 50-50, and rights to intangible assets and personal debts revert to whoever accrued them. The infidelity clause states that if one party is caught or admits to marital infidelity, they lose the right to any alimony. There's a lot more, but Michael assures me that challenging this prenup will be damn tough because it's the fairest agreement he's ever seen. But the last request from David really threw me off. He asked to postpone the official mediation for 6 months while Sarah undergoes inpatient rehabilitation for addiction. Some people in previous posts wrote that she might have addiction issues, but I couldn't even imagine it. I discussed it with Michael, and he said we'd think about it and let them know our decision later. Before we left, Sarah spoke for the first time and asked me to read a letter she wrote to me. Michael looked at me with an expression like, "Be careful, this could be a trap." I hesitated, but took it anyway. When I got home and read it, I regretted it. It started with all the cliched phrases cheaters use to justify themselves, which everyone warned me about. I love you. I love our family. I know I treated Ethan badly and hate myself for it. I want us back. But then she wrote that after a major surgery she had about 2 years ago, she started abusing the medications prescribed to her. Over time, she began buying them from some colleagues at work, including Jake. He became her dealer. And when she ran out of money, she started sleeping with him to pay for it. She said she hid it all from me because she was afraid I'd make her stop, and she couldn't feel normal without the pills anymore. Jake meant nothing to her. He was just a way to get her fix, and that she hates herself for everything she's done, both to herself and to us. Now she says she's realized how awful it all is and wants to recover for the sake of our family. She's asking me to give her just a little time to prove she really wants this. Let me state officially, I will never go back to Sarah. Our marriage ended the moment she cheated on me and hurt Ethan. But damn it, where was I this whole time? I feel like the most naive, stupid idiot who ever walked this earth. I feel like a worthless husband and father right now. I feel nothing for this woman but anger and contempt. But is this how you treat someone struggling with addiction? Additional information. I understand Sarah doesn't deserve forgiveness, and I can't risk Ethan's well-being for her anymore. She has to go through this on her own. After reading the comments here, I started wondering if she wrote that letter deliberately to soften the blow and use it as an excuse later. I was told that a lack of compassion isn't the same as vindictiveness. I need to internalize that myself. Letting her fall doesn't mean kicking her when she's already down. She put me in a terrible position and I can't help her. I can't let Ethan feel like I've betrayed him. I'm still proceeding with the divorce, but I might contact her rehab center to see if I can somehow support her from a distance. I want to support her as a human being, partly because of the love we truly once shared. But right now, Ethan is my top priority. Also, Michael nearly popped champagne when I read him her letter. He said it's a direct admission of untreated addiction, and it practically guarantees me full custody. Well, that's all. I'm waiting for your thoughts on this story in the comments. Personally, I don't have much to say here. It's all pretty clear except for one thing. Who actually beat up Jake Lisa, or another woman he was involved with? Anyway, I'm waiting for your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Also, check out our previous video, which you'll see right here. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and good luck.